Argumentative and contentious, sparks fly as Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump square off during their first presidential debate.
Each candidate making their case to the American people for why they should be elected as the next president. The candidates sparred over the economy, immigration, abortion, health care, and foreign policy, both with very different opinions and very different plans for the future.
Our John Fenoglio is here now with highlights of the debate and expert analysis. John.
Sure, Micah, that's right. This was a fiery debate at times, with former President Trump frequently on the defensive. With no other debate firmly scheduled, this might be the only opportunity voters have to see the two presidential nominees square off before the election in just 2 months. It was an icy start. Vice President Kamala Harris approached former President Donald Trump and offered him a handshake before the two settled in for a fight in Philadelphia.
The worst vice president in the history of our country.
I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
The candidates face to face for the first time ever after President Biden withdrew from the race in July, setting in motion a historic and rapid race to the White House with a new candidate at the top of the Democratic ticket.
Donald Trump actually has no plan for you.
I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do.
On the economy,
I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century.
Throughout the debate, the candidates sparring over foreign policy, immigration, and access to abortion, a critical issue to the Harris campaign.
The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
Each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government.
Trump refusing to rule out signing a national abortion ban, while repeatedly pivoting to hammer Harris on the Biden administration's chaotic and deadly withdrawal from Afghanistan and border security. At one point, Trump falsely claiming that undocumented immigrants were eating people's pets in Springfield, Ohio, a claim debunked by Springfield officials.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
When we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
Both candidates offering two dramatically different views for the future of the country.
I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation.
In terms of the moderate voters, I think she looked like more of a moderating presence. She didn't look as angry. She looked like she had a plan for the future. She kept saying over and over again, I am the future. He is the past. He did look like somebody who wanted to air a lot of past grievances.
All right, and there you have it. The final sprint of the election will see the candidates crisscrossing the critical swing states of Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Arizona, Wisconsin, and of course, Pennsylvania. Both Trump and Harris said after tonight's debate that they'd like a round two. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. The vice presidential candidates will debate each other on October 1st. The election just 8 weeks from tonight. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, John. And